Dead Space is a classic survival horror game that I even think is on par with Resident Evil. In this video, I'll determine how hard is it to achieve every achievement in the Dead Space Remake. While going through these, you may even find some advice on how to get some of them. The difficulty will be scaled from a scale of 1 to 5, and yes, I've obtained every single achievement. The achievements will be put into 4 categories such as basic achievements, combat achievements, and collectibles, and the last being challenge achievements. You'll also find this video of impossible mode is actually impossible, and the best way to be impossible mode. This game was a great experience, and I hope you find yourself playing it. Without further ado, let's find out how hard this game is. The basic achievements in Dead Space are actually super easy. Here's why. Completing each chapter is an achievement, and completing the game in its medium difficulty. So right there are already 13 achievements for simply completing the game. After beating the game at least once, you then have to go play a New Game Plus for an additional achievement for completing it. New Game Plus isn't too different from the base game, other than it has more Phantom Necromorphs, which are just stronger versions of the base enemies. As scary as they may sound, they're easy in New Game Plus since your kit will be almost fully upgraded by then. I'll talk about the alternative ending further into the video. Going through the game isn't challenging, unless you're just really bad at these type of games. Pack Rat is storing 25 items in the storage system in the game. I did this by stacking up stasis packs and just putting them in there because in my first playthrough, I didn't think they were helpful, but I did come to learn that they are pretty darn useful, especially in hard difficulties. There are a total of 3 side quests in Dead Space Remake that require you to go out of your way to do them. But while doing the main storyline, some of the side quests can be on the way. These side quests achievements are Final Regeneration, Discover the Hunter's Origins, which you can actually miss after freezing the hunter and sending him away, because right after you do that, a sample of his tissue actually drops. If you don't pick it up, the quest will not start up. Hold again, pursue Nicole's investigation. This side quest is incredibly hard to miss since most of the time is on the way to the main objective. And it's really just watching cutscene and listening to Nicole talk about things and stuff and necromorphs. The last is full clearance. Create the master security keycard, which is just going around the map and picking up people's rigs. The best thing about these side quests is that you can track it and require no exploring to actually find them. Full arsenal is when you obtain every weapon in the game, which are a total of 6. You can't really miss them because most, if not all, the weapons are on the story path. Or if you're like me and actually walked right past the line gun and had to go back and get it, then you should be fine when it comes to getting this achievement. Front toward enemy is surviving the shooting gallery. This achievement takes place around chapter 9, I believe, and you can miss this encounter, but again you'll probably be curious, and this enemy encounter isn't anything too difficult. Brute force is killing a brute, which is not hard as long as you have stasis, then you can just unload whatever weapon you're using onto his back. Exterminator is killing the Leviathan, in which you actually find him again in a different location to get another achievement called Get Off My Ship! Doing either of these are not difficult, but the second time you fight the Leviathan can be quite annoying at first, but it's not that much different than the first time you fight him. Mindless Prey is killing the Hive Mind, which is the final boss of the game. The Hive Mind takes some time to kill, but it's not anything too complicated. Shoot the weak points and dodge his attacks by strafing. Bosses in Dead Space are pretty easy. You can consider the Hunter a boss fight, but he doesn't count as an achievement to defeat him. I feel like when it comes to boss fight, the game does lack a bit, but it does definitely make it up for it for having different types of enemies and dropping them in different ways. Z-Baller is when you play a minigame and complete all 6 levels. It does increase in difficulty each level by making you have to get more points in less time, but you should get this in your first try. Plus you get loot from lockers by completing these levels, so even if you don't know about the achievement, you're bound to do this. That covers up all the basic achievements, which all of these you're gonna get in at least 1 or 2 playthroughs, including New Game Plus. It's easy to get these unless you get scared at games like these, as in you're a put. Combat achievements are basically just achievements within this game that you have to kill or do something to the necromorphs a certain amount of times. You can get 6 of these achievements easily because 6 of them are basically just killing 30 enemies with each of the guns you get throughout the game, excluding the plasma cutter, like for example auto fire. Kill 30 enemies with the pulse rifle. Marksman is dismembering 50 limbs off necromorphs, and there's another achievement, Surgeon, which is dismembering 500 limbs. I'm pretty sure I've gotten both of these in my first playthrough, since to kill every enemy in this game, you're dismembering them. Wishbone, rip off a dang limb using kinesis. Now, I actually didn't get this achievement the legit way. I got it by a glitch, where if you use kinesis on a leg of one of the astronaut looking suits in the game, the achievement will be obtained. The day of doing this, apparently it was patched on console, but it worked on PC. It most likely doesn't work anymore. Normally, doing this achievement can be slightly annoying, since you basically have to weaken the limb as much as you can without tearing it off, and then using kinesis to take it off. Next is raise the stakes, pin an enemy. This is straightforward, just use kinesis on those little spike thingies and throw it at them, which you most likely will get it done in chapter 2 in the medical area, since the game kind of hints you to try it out. Freeze, use stasis on 50 enemies. Looking back, you probably can get this done in the first chapter. In one of the objective rooms, there is a stasis recharge station, and you could just run around the necromorphs and spam it, and probably get the achievement right there and then. Backbreaker, kill 10 enemies with a stomp attack. The issue with this achievement is that it says what you have to do isn't specific in what enemies. Originally I fought the necromorphs, so I would shoot them down a bit and stomp them, but that doesn't work. The achievement actually is talking about those little guys that come at you in small hordes and jump you. Stomp 10 of those guys and you'll get the achievement. This achievement definitely is misleading, but it's a pretty easy achievement once you know what enemies you have to do this to. That wraps up the combat achievements. Again, pretty easy to do. You can get most of these in a single playthrough if you're mindful of them. The best thing about the collectible achievements is that many of them, if not all of them, are easy to get even without a video guide, since most of the items are on the way as long as you go through all the rooms thoroughly. Build to order is installing every weapon upgrade, and merchant is collecting all schematics. Finding both of these types of collectibles are roughly the same because they are not really hidden and are easy to find, although you can find yourself missing like one or two like I did in my first playthrough. After getting those achievements though, you will lead to getting maxed out, which is fully upgrading all weapons and equipment, which I'm pretty sure you need to get into New Game Plus for this achievement in order to get the final suit upgrade, which actually isn't too much of a grind. Making the money in this game isn't too hard and doesn't really take that much time. Just like every other survival horror game, there's a collectible that explains about the lore, and in Dead Space these are the audio logs, and oh boy are they easy. They're easy because you don't even have to get all of them. The game requires you to collect 75 audio logs to get an achievement, and then 150 to get another one. There are a total of 188 audio logs within the game, so as long as you're going through the game normally and being somewhat mindful of the audio logs, you'll get this done in the first playthrough. There's always ping. Find the ping treasure. This treasure is found in chapter 11 in the locker, and to be honest, I didn't even know about it because I think this achievement is a hidden one, but either way it's hard to miss. Finding these collectibles are easy, but there are new collectibles in New Game Plus that are decently hidden. Marked. Pick up a marker fragment for the first time. There are 12 of these in the game, and in order to get another achievement, Reunion, see the alternate ending on any difficulty mode, you have to collect all 12 markers. There's at least one each chapter, excluding one of the chapters or two. The markers are decently hidden, so you may find some in a dark corner or behind a bookshelf in a secret room. But before continuing to chapter 12, you need to have all 12 fragments and place it down in a room in chapter 10. Knowing this and completing this on your own could be a little time consuming, but the ability to backtrack to locations in the game makes it a whole lot easier. I have 2 more achievements left to talk about in Dead Space, and these are what are considered the challenge achievements. 1 gun. Beat the game using only the plasma cutter. This may sound menacing, but it's super easy. You can do this in a New Game Plus or another save. I think the main reason why this is so easy to do is because the monsters only will have ammo based on what weapons you have on your inventory. This means as long as you carry only the plasma cutter, necromorphs will only drop cash and plasma cutter ammo. The last achievement of this video and the last one I obtained in the game was Untouchable, complete the game in Impossible mode. Impossible mode is a game on a hard difficulty setting, but once you die the game will switch the difficulty back to hard and you have to restart the run. Enemies are stronger and they hit harder, and the game is roughly 8 hours, so if you fail, you have to go through all of that again. It sounds pretty impossible, but completing the Impossible mode is far from impossible. Now maybe it's the way I went about it, doing it, that made it easy, but I didn't struggle at any point in the game. I'll explain this the best way I can. You can actually cheese the death challenge by simply closing the game instantly as soon as you think you will die, or just as soon as you die. This will make you go back to your last save on impossible difficulty. Autosaves are off, but as long as you save consistently, you will be fine. Now I actually never had to resort to this because I never died. The best way to go about this mode, at least from how I see it, is only use the plasma cutter. The plasma cutter is actually really powerful, since the best way to cut off limbs, and you can have practically infinite ammo as long as you only carry it in your inventory. Not only that, focusing on just upgrading your suit and plasma cutter makes it a whole lot easier, since you're not juggling between weapons. After completing Impossible mode, I felt really stupid that for the achievement to complete the game only using the plasma cutter, I could have done that while doing Impossible mode, which that would save a lot of time. But yeah, Impossible mode is nowhere close to impossible. To be honest, I wish it was more difficult by switching up enemy spawns like Resident Evil 7's Madhouse difficulty, as for an example. Dead Space Remake is a great survival horror game that always tries to put you on edge while throwing you an onslaught of grotesque monsters. But getting all the achievements in the game is easy, and the game doesn't have many challenging components within it in terms of getting the achievements. I give the difficulty rating of getting all the achievements in Dead Space Remake a 1.5. I would love to hear anyone else's thoughts on how hard this game is, because compared to Resident Evil's achievements, this was really easy. Don't get me wrong, this game was great, and this isn't saying the game is not as good because it was easy. I enjoyed that it was not that hard, because it made me more invested in the game's story and lore without enraging me in the process. It was definitely a nice change of pace from playing Sekiro and Elden Ring. So if you love horror survival games, this is a must play, and if you want to get into this genre, I think this is a perfect starting ground to get into the survival horror genre, because it's not too difficult of a game and it's really scary. This wraps up this video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and if you disagree or have any thoughts about this video or have feedback, drop it down in the comments below. If you like what you see, leave a like and subscribe. Thank you again for watching.